So we're going to start off with our opening prayer. If you just close your eyes and just taking a deep breath, feeling the vitality and love in this room. Divine loving God, we come to you with open hearts and open minds. We are just vessels of love and light. We know that you continue to show up and bless us, and you continue to work in us, as us, and through us. As beacons of light and vessels of love, we are here to impact this world. We also uplift all the congregants, all of our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones, the world, and our communities. We uplift them knowing that everything is working out and unfolding in divine order, no matter what that looks like. And as children of God, it is our divine birthright to celebrate in the riches and in the essence and in the goodness of God. And affirming these truths in these prayers, we say, and so it is. Amen. Okay. So today's affirmation is, I am transformed when I live from my highest self. Can you say that with me? I am transformed when I live from my highest self. And just taking a deep breath, just feeling that, embodying that. So welcome to Unity of Mesa, where we enlighten, empower, and energize one another to uplift our world through a greater expression of God. All are welcome here. So we are going to have Mr. Walt Richardson do an introduction of himself and then bless us with some music this morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, indeed. I read in the brochure that the amazing Walt Richardson was going to be here. I didn't know if I should show up in a magic outfit or something. But I didn't know I was amazing until this morning, and it's a couple times today. That's good. But if I'm amazing, so are y'all. So we're all in this together. Out in the new morning, I walk out there with you. My feet get wet in the new morning dew. I see the creatures scamper in the dirt, and I see the children in their oneness with you, and they're singing, la la la, la 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 la. You can join in. La 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 la. La 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 la. I see the flowers, I see the trees and the leaves. Oh, these spirits who are lost, dance in the breeze, and they're singing, la 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 la. La 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 la. wonderful day. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful morning. It's a wonderful, wonderful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful day.
Thank you. I wanted to sing along so bad, but I figure I'd hold off on that. I forgot to say good morning to the individuals that are joining us online. We're so happy that you're with us and hope that you feel lifted in this spirit, in this service as well. So going through our announcements today, can you believe it's almost April? April is bringing us the Easter holiday, Easter eggs, Earth Day, and our new ministers. April 17th, we have 2 special Easter services planned. We'll have our traditional sunrise service in the gardens, and then have our intergenerational service at 10:15. After service, we invite everyone to come out to the garden. This is on Easter. We will have an Easter egg hunt for the children. On April 24th, Youth Ministry is hosting a special Earth Day event, Eating for the Planet. Learn about sustainability, zero waste, and enjoy a plant-based meal. And speaking of special meals, once again, we have hospitality going on in the garden after service. A big thank you to everyone who has volunteered and brought delicious treats. If you are able to bring food to share some Sunday, please see Nancy or email her directly at nancy@unityofmesa.org. Just one reminder, if you're making a contribution on your telephone, please check that you are using the new Vanco mobile app. The Give Plus app becomes obsolete as of March 31st. And that's this Thursday, so make note. Then I have a special announcement. So, Reverend Nikki and Reverend Mindy, in case you're listening, please turn this part off. We want to plan for a warm welcome to our new ministers. They start on April 10th, which is Palm Sunday. As they said in the Game of Thrones, winter is coming, but in our case, summer is coming. They have not lived in the desert and could benefit from some helpful tips on living here when it gets over 110 degrees and or monsoon season. Let's plan. The plan is to welcome the new ministers with note cards from you all on how to survive the summer heat. You can put oven mitts in your car for your steering wheel or to latch your seatbelt. Remember to take water with you everywhere you go and keep hydrated. In this dry heat, if you feel thirsty, then you are dehydrated. Those type of tips. Or your favorite restaurants, hiking trails, walking trails, or bird watching areas. Or what to do during a haboob, or what not to do. There's tables in the back, and there's tables outside that have index cards and pens and pencils. So you can write down your welcoming note and information that you'd like to share and put it in the basket. And you can also bring your own card next week, and we'll share it with them on April 10th. Visit our Things for You to Know page on our website, unityofmesa.org. Find info, details, registration for classes and events, and updates on Sunday services and more. Thank you all for sharing your love and light with us this morning. Please know that your soul is welcome here. And now let's share our guiding statement to remind us of why we come together. Let's read it together. We are here to experience more of the fullness of who we truly are in order to transform the world. All are welcome here. Can we say that one more time, that all are welcome here? One, are welcome here. Yes. So now we'll prepare ourselves for meditation. As we prepare ourselves for our time of meditation, I would like to invite you all to become comfortable in your chairs. Settle into your seats. Ground both feet on the floor. Close your eyes and slow down your breath. Just listen to the cadence of my voice. Let us collectively take in a couple of deep breaths and center our minds, our bodies, our spirits, and our hearts. Take in a deep breath, exhaling the busyness of the morning, prior days, weeks, or months. Take in another deep breath. Exhaling any feelings of heaviness, uncertainty, lack, or limitation. Just lay those thoughts down, because at this time they do not serve your highest good. And let's take one last breath. Sinking into your heart space. Reading from Daily Word, January 20th, 2013. The word is transformation. And the affirmation, I am transformed when I live for my highest self. At the core of my being is a powerful, abiding essence. As I focus my thoughts on love, life, light, peace, and joy of God, I align with that essence. God is not separate from me, and I am not separate from God. I recognize the strength and power of my being. When I claim the truth of my divine nature, my life is transformed. I create my life according to my beliefs. If I believe that others should determine how I live my life, I may feel powerless. I take responsibility for making my own choices, and I feel empowered. I see and claim my potential. Transformation is gradual but dramatic as I fully realize that I am one with God. The essence and goodness of God is indwelling at the core of our being and woven throughout the world we live in and have our being in. As reflections of God, this is our divine nature. God's essence and goodness can transform our lives, our perspective, and the lives of those around us. It can develop or take form as a deep-rooted gratitude for abundance of prosperity, health, shelter, clean water, loved ones, family, friends, pets. We can also experience God's essence or goodness in nature, like the sun on our skin, a slight breeze in the air, the beautiful rebirth of the spring flowers, trees, and bushes. And additionally, we can share God's essence and goodness with others in the form of a smile, holding a door, a phone call, showing up for others in love, no matter what that looks like, or just packing our patience while out in the world. To further expand our hearts and minds, to awaken and affirm the essence of God's goodness, we will now begin this sacred time in the silence. As you bring your awareness back to the sacred space, please wiggle your fingers and toes and become reacquainted with your surroundings. Open your eyes. Take in a final deep breath. Feeling the raised frequency of transformative love and awareness in this room. Living from our highest self, we are reflections of God's essence and goodness. We are here to emanate that love and light to our families, communities, and the world. When we stand in the truth of all that is good, we allow others to do the same. And once again, affirming the truth that I am transformed when I live from my highest self.
It's time for a light revolution. It's time for a light revolution. Time for a light revolution. It's time for a light revolution. Have you ever wondered why there's so much fighting? Have you ever wondered why there's so much crying? Have you ever wondered why there's so much dying? Have you ever really wondered why? Don't you know that it's time for a light revolution? So people, get your hearts ready. It's time for a light revolution. People, get your hearts ready. It's time for a light revolution. People, get your hearts ready. Time for a light revolution. Have you ever felt the hurting pain of our brothers and sisters? We're one and the same. Have you ever shared a consoling word or two? To a wandering soul that must maybe passing through. Don't you know that it's time for a light revolution? Oh, get your hearts ready. Time for a light revolution. People, Thank you all. Thank you all very much. This is my spot right here. This is me. It's my turn. Let's see. Which one should I pick? Any of them? Any of the red ones. Any of the red ones? Yep. Okay. Thank you. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Okay, cool. Good morning. And I'll just tell you a little bit of who I am. So those of you that don't know, oldest of 8, name's Walt Richardson. I have a nickname of Ricky. Oldest of 8, military family. I wore this short shirt today because in this week we're celebrating the 8th anniversary of our father transitioning into the world where he can actually get some things done. That's a whole nother story. and he's doing very well with that. I just a little backstory. I did go to I've been to a lot of different schools throughout the world, being military. Started school in Japan and ended up graduating high school in the Philippines at Clark Air Base, and then various schools in outside the United States, public schools, private schools, Catholic schools, and all of it. The theme running through all of it was pretty much discipline, especially coming from the military background. I finished up at ASU, and the day I received my degree is the day I also retired. So I've been in retirement for a long time. Oh man, and it's everything they said it was. It's been nice. I still have the first few paragraphs of a resume. I've been drafting that every now and then. I just kind of look at it and reminisce. But I spent my life wandering around the globe, and somewhere along the line picked up the love for guitar because I saw the power of music, especially about 9 years old, seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan's show for the first time. And I knew that's what I wanted to do because there was so much energy just coming through the television as we were watching it. Some of you who weren't around at that time, you can go onto YouTube and find Ed Sullivan. It doesn't ring a bell with a lot of you, but some of us, it does ring a big bell. And I'm glad to be in that crowd. I had the theme, close your eyes and open your eye, as a transition in this area of transformation. And I wrote so many notes down and then left them at the house today. And thanks to my wonderful and talented and beautiful sister who steals the show whenever I'm in doing a gig. She ran by my house real quick and picked up the notebook. And so therefore I'm somewhat back on track here. In terms of what's been going on for the last few years, those of us who were born in the 50s, we can say what's new. We've been through a lot. I remember the first traumatic story or incident that happened that shook the world was the assassination of Kennedy. And it closed the world down for those of you who remember. We only had 3 television stations at the time, and basically they went off the air at about 10 or 11 o'clock, depending on where you were. You could watch that little bead disappear on your screen if you just wanted to have an encore for and there wasn't nothing coming on until 7 in the morning. So you were free for the rest of that night. One of the beautiful things about that is the fact that you could, our rhythms, our circadian rhythms were still pretty much intact because it was a long night. And some of the times I don't realize how long the night is until I go camping somewhere. And then I realize it's dark for a long time. Did I? Oh, I touched the power button. It can be dark for a long time on this planet, especially when you don't have a TV or something to distract yourself. Um, being the wandering wanderer and picking up music and getting into that part of life, I'm naturally a night owl. That runs in the family. Mom's a night owl, myself, and then other family members are night owls, and we kind of talk about the degree of our night owlness depending on what time we get up the next morning. So some people are early risers and they get up at noon, and some some of them sleep in. They get up at 1 or 2 and stuff. And I don't know what happened to me. I don't know. I don't even know what to call myself anymore because sometimes 3 o'clock seems early in the morning. But that's a whole nother story. But one of the reasons I brought that on is because there's a lot of creative energy that flows in night. And I think a lot of it is because the neighbors are asleep, the world is quiet, you start slipping into that 3 o'clock hour, and it's magic. And if I'm up by midnight, I'm going to be all the way up until 3. And that's where a lot of music starts coming through, and a lot of time to think and reflect. And in that reflection is where I get a chance to put together everything that I've seen in the daylight hours. And there's a lot of processing that goes on, and a lot of learning and a lot of reading, but it seems like it all settles into a pretty good space. The songwriting is a part of that whole area of I call it living or creating. It starts out like with an idea, a seed, but it has no form. It's just something that seems to be floating around in the heart space and somewhere around the head space. And then a bit of a theme will come through, and I try to write that down and then see what starts to flow into it. And it took as life went on and understanding this songwriting process and being pulled by it all the time is pretty much feel like maybe I might be losing my mind because I'm always in this fuzzy space. And then I started reading about quantum physics and realized, well, fuzzy space seems like that's what it is all about. And we're pulling things out of fuzzy space and creating it into something material. We're creating the experiences that we're having in life. And I was starting to like that kind of stuff because when I first came onto the planet, there was a big separation between the thoughts in your mind and what's in reality. It seemed like the reality was a real thing, and then the thoughts in your mind were something like, "Hey, we get to that later." And somehow it's kind of merged, and I'm really glad that it has merged because it makes me feel good. Finally, I don't feel like I'm way out there anymore. It seems like okay, it's feel spot on. But there's another part of that comes in. Start reading a lot about brain research and realize that the brain is a awesome, awesome instrument, if you will. And when it gets a chance to be around for 10 years, it's one thing. In 20 years, it's another thing. And in 30 years, it becomes even something more intense. And 40 and 50. And if you're lucky to be on at 50, then something opens up that you can never explain to anybody when their brain is in the 10-year spot or the 20-year spot. And this is where our grandparents start coming in. and they usually say something when we're in our 10-year spot, and they'll say something, and we'll listen to them, and they'll have that vibration like, they might know what they're talking about, but they're still old people. And we're young and fresh, and we're going to do all of these things. And they try to tell you, well, one thing do not do is reinvent the wheel. We got plenty of them. And so listen to what I'm saying. We'll show you some shortcuts and everything. There is no new wheel. They put that square thing away that you're trying to turn into a wheel. We've done that before. Just go ahead and just take this wheel here and then go from this. And then if you get into 60 and 70 and you still have your presence about, it seems like there is this incredible area of wisdom that starts opening up for all of us. And that is where some of us here in the room are heading into, and that's where I'm heading into as well. And to see the world where it's at and to know what our heart intentions were in the beginning of wanting to bring love and bring and serve, we can kind of run up into a space of saying, how's this all working out? What's the equation? We're watching the events that can take place that can rock us to our core, like the Kennedy assassination did, and then all of these series of things from that have happened. And I don't have to name them all because it gets to be so many that each one of us in here are affected or traumatized by certain kinds of events that have taken place in our lives individually, that it as a collective we all can be talking about all of our traumatic experiences, and we say, well, where does this lead? It seems like it always leads back to the garden, and the garden being the heart, and the garden being the space that we just brought ourselves to today to be able to relax. And as we get into that space of relaxing, that's where a transformation takes place. I read one time that every time you pick up your guitar, you change. And I say this, every time we open our eyes, we change. When we close our eyes, we shut ourselves off from the environment around us, and we get a chance for another eye to open up. And that eye that opens up, we're still understanding what that is, the pineal gland. And then the heart is communicating to the brain all the time. And when we get a chance to settle down into breathing into a rhythm, the heart automatically and the brain automatically starts lining up. And you can feel a slight shift in your body. When you feel that slight shift in your body, you pay attention to it. And then you start remembering how you got there. And then all of a sudden, there's benefits that roll out from that. And as we practice that uh, more beneficial things start happening that include healing on all different levels. Playing the guitar, you pick it up and you get discouraged, and you go back and you pick it up again. But keeping at it, adding a little bit more time into practicing, all of a sudden brings you to the place where people think you're an amazing guitar player, and you just say, no, I've just been doing this quite a while and it looks easy. The same thing happens for what we just experienced going into this space of being silent. So that way we close our eyes, open our eye, and then we find ourselves in this garden. Now, the garden has another image for me too, and that reminds me of the Garden of Gethsemane. And as we move through this part of the year, we have the story of a person who wanted to serve and will lay down their life to serve, and then has that moment in the garden to say, am I doing the right thing? And a lot of times we will get to that space of saying, am I doing the right thing? But you have to sit there in that garden, and then you get to a moment that I think is very important where you say, okay, I got this because you got this. And that bigger thing, that fuzzy thing, that tiny little point that comes into being a song, sense of purpose opens up, and you say, okay, I can walk through this challenge. And so all of us are doing that right now on the planet. Don't feel like you're alone. I'm doing it, and that's the beautiful thing is we know we're in this together. We also know that there's an intention behind it, and that is we know we can do better, and we will always look for doing better in any kind of way that we can, even if it means holding the door open for somebody or just a kind word, those simple things right there make a huge difference because they send a ripple throughout the entire whatever we're in. And that's the love. So I put together a little a tune here I like to close out with. And I want to thank you all for allowing me to just share a bit of my wandering wanderer life. I would love to have the conversation more at another time, coffee shop or wherever, because that's what I do. I sit around and talk. Uh, so here's what I wanted to share with you. At this time. And again, I want to thank my sister Lily for bringing me those notes that I left at the house. I needed to know that I did some homework. I also want to thank my speech teacher, Marilyn Munn, who in high school sat me down in speech class and asked me to write a serious speech. And that started my whole journey into the music. So this day was prepared in 1972. So here we go. Gethsemane, Gethsemane, the secret that you teach. Stand before the light, although the world is sound asleep. A strong and good heart's broken, cracked right through the earth. A crystal rain comes falling, teardrops in the dirt. Staring at the long road, storms across the sky. Afraid to meet your destiny with no one by your side. Gethsemane, Gethsemane, the secret that you teach. Stand before the light, although the world is sound asleep. Stand firm before the light, although the world is sound asleep. Faced with decisions which role in life to play, to fall and be a victim, or rise and save the day. In your hours of reflection, seeking higher grace, when those who were beside you by the hour fade away. Gethsemane, Gethsemane, the secret that you teach. Stand before the light, although the world is sound asleep. Stand firm before the light, although the world is sound asleep. Stand firm before the light, although the world is sound asleep. The world is sound asleep. The world is sound asleep. Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time for Walt Richardson. You didn't need your notes because you spoke from your heart. Yes, thank you. Okay, so now it's time for our, hello, yes. Okay, so I was on platform about a month ago. Actually, it was February 27th. And I was giving an update on our Creating Tomorrow campaign. And I wanted to give an update because at that time, we needed $2,947 to completely fill the pedal, which it hasn't been filled in. That's why I don't have it, but I have other props. To reach our benchmark of 300,000. And I'm happy to say that we did it. Yes, yes. So thank you to everybody that contributed, that made pledges during the Creating Tomorrow campaign. It's still going on. So with achieving the second pedal, we now will move into the next phase called planting the seeds. And as a reminder, the intention behind this next phase is to better align staff compensation with their hard work, to implement AV updates such as computers, lighting, microphones, soundproofing, monitors, and improving our live streaming capabilities. Also establishing the appropriate digital interface to improve the online delivery of services, and initiate much needed property updates such as gutters, drains, improvements on the north side of the sanctuary, landscaping, and irrigation system improvements. Hello, okay. And so when given towards this goal of the campaign, you can also specify in the memo portion of your check, using the envelope that you're contributing specifically to the Creating Tomorrow's campaign versus the general contribution. So, you know, there's other ways to donate, such as your Fry shopper card, your Amazon Smiles contributes a portion of what you've paid for your item. But I also wanted to share something that I've been doing personally. So I have a coffee mug in my kitchen, and whenever I go through my purse and any change that I have, I put it in the coffee mug. And then, sorry, I write my name on it with the date, and I make a donation when the coffee mug gets filled, because every little bit helps. We're trying to continue to support this thriving, amazing, loving community. And so I invite you to share your tithes, your treasures, your time with this community that you're fed from. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about it. So as board member of the day, by the way, I'm your vice president on your board of directors. And I also serve as one of the chaplains, but not today. So God is the source of all of our abundance. We are living in a universe that is unlimited. When we give thanks and are grateful for what we have and what we give, we open ourselves to the abundance. Here at Unity of Mesa, your gifts, times, talents, and treasures continue to support the teachings of the Christ, our highest consciousness, to reach all who are open to the truth through the work of this amazing ministry. You may have heard or seen us use the word love offering, and some of you may wonder what that is. When you attend a love offering class or event that fills you with joy, inspiration, or enlightens or empowers you, we ask that you support the facilitators in the facility by giving from your heart. We even have a way that you can make a love offering on our website or on the Vanco mobile app. As Reverend Eliza said last week, with a grateful heart, we give freely and receive abundantly. So please take in your hands I had mine up here. Please take your gifts in your hands, holding it in our hearts, our gifts, our minds. We dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the greatest expression of spirit through the work of this ministry. Let us affirm together our offering blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We give thanks for the givers and the gifts. Thank you, God. We are not to the point where we're passing around the collection plate, but by the doors, the little red buckets. There's one up here, there's one on the way out to the garden, and there's one through the front entryway that you can put your love offering in. And I encourage you to get a coffee cup and put some change in it. So hospitality is being served in the garden. And so we invite you to step out. It's beautiful. It's not too warm yet. Chaplains are available for one-on-one prayer and can be identified in their blue stoles, blue and white stoles. If you're a chaplain serving today, can you please stand? Thank you. Thank you for holding space for all of us. You can either meet with them here in the congregation or in the garden. Now let us pray with our prayer of protection. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one more song. I was on a roll.
I know you. Well, from the heart, baby. Go from the heart. Y'all really want one more song? Yeah. I got one more in me. Love is sweet, love is fine, turns my walk into wine. Used to be free flying, goes to every space and time. Listen to me, brother, the love on the right. And now listen to me, brother, the love on the right. 'Cause love is learning evermore. Yes, its journey guides your course. A friend to touch and to hold. Never not leave us in the cold. Listen to me, brother. That's a love one another. Now listen to me, brother. That's a love one another. I like to see you dancing so happy in the sunshine. I like dancing and everything's all right. I like to see you dancing so happy in the sunshine. This be our new world goal. Helping old, the young and old, planting seeds and watch them grow. They're always reaping what you sow. Listen to me, brother. We got the love on the line. I say, now listen to me, brother. We got the love on the line. 'Cause I like to see you dancing so happy in the sunshine. I like to see you dancing and everything's all right. I like to see you dancing so happy in the sunshine. I like to see you dancing and everything's all right. Everything's all right. Everything's all right. Here's your part. I said love, say it with me. I say love, I say love, say it with me. I say love, keep it going. I say love ain't what you want, children. I say love is what you need now. Hey, what you want, children. You know it's what you need now. When you wake up in the morning, when you come home in the evening, all the night, it makes you feel alright. It makes you feel alright. It makes you feel alright. So it is, baby. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you again. Yes. So I just want to say, I've been receiving texts from congregants watching online, and I know and feel your love. You hear my voice getting stronger. If there was anywhere that I needed to be today, it was right here with you all. Each of us is in our right and perfect place. So we'll close out today with the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of our God and to go out to share God's goodness and the essence of God with everyone that you meet and encounter. Have a great week.